Hello friends, welcome to Learning Sessions, and today in this video we are going to learn about the chapter that is from module B, that is a cash flow and the fund flow statement over there. And this is quite important chapter, so do watch this video till and if you want to get the full course videos and chapter wise questions, mock test, mega mock test, and the complimentary access to the EPDF notes for sure success in JIIB 2023, then you must be visiting the website iibf.info. And if you are Android user, you can download our Android application which is available in the name of IIBF Learning Center. And if you're iOS user, do download My Institute application and use the organization code GEGKT. And if you have been watching our videos for a while and have been liking our video, kindly please do give this video a thumbs up, and further do subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell notification icon so that you get updated whenever we upload the new video. So audio video quality over here seems to be working quite fine, so let's start with the session over here. So it's related to cash flow statement. Now as the name suggests, what is actually a cash flow? So it will be a case whether you are receiving the amount or you are paying the amount. So when you are receiving the amount, it is said to be the inflow, and when you are paying the amount, it is said to be the outflow. Okay, so it could be related to that you are inflow, that the amount is inflowing, the cash is inflowing, or it will be the case that the cash is outflowing. So when you're receiving the amount from your debtors, then in that case it is a inflow, and when you're paying the cash to your creditors or the trade creditors over there, in that case it's the outflow over there. Okay, so that's actually related to what? That's actually related to the cash flow over there. So we can say it could be the cash or cash equivalent. Like it may be the case that you are receiving the amount in form of cash, bank balance, or marketable securities over there. Okay, now let's learn about the cash flow statement over there. So it is a statement that shows the inflows and outflows of the cash or cash equivalent during a particular period of time over there. So it's a statement that actually shows that from where we have received the cash, from where to which party, or where we are spending the cash over there. So that's actually related to it, and also let us know the position of cash in the beginning and for the end of the period over there. Okay, so let's first of all learn about the term cash inflows over there. So cash inflows are basically the transactions which actually increase the cash or cash equivalent over there. I've already told you cash or cash equivalent means cash, bank balance, marketable securities over there. Okay, so it could be the case that particularly we have been receiving from amount from our operations, from our investments or financial activities from there. And similarly, if we talk about the cash outflow, it's related to those transactions which actually decrease the cash or cash equivalent over there. Like it could be related to some expenses that we are paying for the business activity purposes or for the investment purposes over there. Now let's understand the type of businesses over there. We are having the two type of businesses. One, it is a financial enterprise, and other one, it is a non-financial enterprise. Now the enterprise is which is actually dealing in lending or particularly borrowing of funds. Lending means when you are advancing the loans over there. Borrowing means you are accepting the deposits. Okay, so when you are accepting the deposits and for the lending the funds over there, in that case that particular enterprise is said to be what? That's a financial enterprise. Such as banks are financial enterprises over there. And what do you mean by non-financial enterprise? An enterprise which basically deals in other areas than the lending and accepting the deposit over there. It could be the case that you are dealing in purchasing the raw material and further selling the goods over there. In that particular case, you are a non-financial enterprise. So there are two types of enterprises. One, it is a financial enterprise. Other one, it is a non-financial enterprise. So when you are basically lending the money, borrowing the money, that's the case of the financial enterprise. If you are enterprise other than that, in that case, that is a non-financial enterprise. Okay, so cash flow statement is prepared in accordance with the accounting standard 3. So AS3 is applicable as per what the cash flow statement is prepared over there. You need to basically keep an idea of it, because one mark question can be asked in the question itself or in the exam itself. Okay, so as per the accounting standard, cash flows are showed under the three heads over there. So mainly there are three heads as per the AS3, that is accounting standard 3. So which those three heads are there? One, it is related to cash flows from the operation activities. Other is from the investing activities. The third one, it is from the financing activities over there. So there are three type of activities which we have basically converted the data into. The three heads are there. One, it is the operating activity, investing activity, and financing activity. Now we are going to learn about all these three kind of activity. First of all, it's related to the operating activity. Like that is particularly your principal revenue producing activity. Now if you are selling the furniture over there, that is operating activity, because you are primarily selling the furniture and further you are basically generating the revenues from it. Okay, so that is actually what? That is actually the operating activity. That is not your investing activity. Like we are having a firm over here which is actually selling the furniture. In that case, that is a primary activity, and that is actually what? That is the operating activity over here. And further, if you are investing the amount into some of the securities securities or bonds, etc., that will be the investing activity, not the operating activity. Okay, so that is the thing related to it. So operating activities may be including the cash inflows and cash outflows resulting from the transactions, because you are to purchase the raw material for your primary activity, and further you're paying the wages also, you're paying the rents also. That's the operating activity. Okay, and further when you're selling the product, in that case you're basically generating revenues. That's also a cash inflow. That's a operating activity itself over there. Okay, so list of operating activities, it may include that you are purchasing or selling the goods or services over there. It could be the case that you have amount received from the book debtors or trade receivables over there. It could be the case that you are paying the amount of the trade payables over there. It could be the case that you are receiving the royalties or fees or commission, etc. It could be the case that you are paying the wages, salaries, etc. to the benefit or other benefits to the employees over there. So this is a list of the operating activities over here. After the operating activities, the second activities that we are going to discuss, it's about the investing activities. That, as the name suggests, when you're investing into something, or basically you are, it may be the case it's a long-term asset, it could be the case it would be the long-term investment over there. That is actually related to what? That is actually related to investing activities. Okay, so when we are investing into long-term assets over there or long-term investments over there, that's the case of investment activity over there. Like you are purchasing a fixed asset, or it could be the case sale or disposal of fixed asset. Now when you're purchasing a fixed asset, in that particular case, that is cash inflow or outflow. Definitely, as so as to acquire the asset, you have to pay the amount, so that's a cash outflow over there. And similarly, when you're selling a fixed asset or disposing of a fixed asset, in that particular case, you'll be receiving the amount, so that will be a cash inflow over there. And it could be also related to that you are going to purchase the securities from the known financial companies. It could be related to you are selling the securities. It could be related to loans and advances that you have made to third parties. Like, it's not your primary activity. I'm talking, this is not your primary activity. You just basically have actually allowed an advance to any other third party, because if it would have been your primary thing, in that particular case, that would be covering under the primary or operating activity over there. Okay, and further it could be the case repayment received from the loans and advances that you have made to the third parties over there. So that is actually related to the investing activity, and further after that it's related to the financing activity. Now those activities that actually change the size and the composition of the organization or the owners and borrowings of the enterprise, that is actually related to financing activity. Like if I'll be basically adding money to my enterprise, in that case it is what? It is a financing activity over there. Now let's have a look at the list of financing activities. Like when you're issuing the shares, debentures, loans and equity, in that particular case you'll be receiving the amount, that's a cash inflow. And further, when there is change in the bank overdraft and cash credit, like you have drawn a check, okay, in that case also it's related to financing activity. Or you're buying back the equity shares, that's also financing activity. When we'll be buying back the equity shares, in that case it will be cash outflow inflow, that will be a cash outflow over there. And further repayment of borrowings, like whatsoever amount you have borrowed by way of debentures or bonds, etc., that's particularly when you're repaying the amount over there, that's a cash outflow over there. Dividends on both equity and preferentials, when you're paying the dividend over there, that's cash outflow. Interest on debentures and loan over there which you're paying over there, that's also what? That's also the cash outflow over there. Now let's understand the important points related to the accounting standard 7 over here. Before understanding the important points related to Indian Accounting Standard 7, it's better to understand that there are two standards. One, it is the Accounting Standard 3 and Accounting Standard 7, which gives detailed guidelines related to that how the cash flow statement is to be prepared over there. And every company which is actually preparing the statements of account is to prepare the cash fund statement over there. That is to prepare the cash flow statement over there, because that forms the part of the financial statements. Okay, that is actually required over there. And also there are two types of methods by which we can do actually prepare the cash flow statement. One, it is a direct method, and the other one, it is an indirect method. In case of the direct method, the major heads actually showing the gross receipt and gross payment of cash, actually that indicates the flow of the cash over there. And in case of the indirect method is actually that method. In that particular case, the profit or any kind of loss, if there is any kind of profit or any kind of loss over there, that is actually adjusted toward any kind of non-cash expense over there. Or if there any kind of deferral of payment was there in the previous year, or receipt of payment or receipt deferral receipt is there, that is actually adjusted first of all. Okay, and further then you actually go for the cash flow or cash out inflow or cash outflow over there. That is the indirect method. So simply I can say in case of direct method, there is the major gross receipt and gross payment methods are payment figures are considered. But in case of indirect method, first of all, whatsoever the deferred payments or deferred receipts are there, those are adjusted, non-cash expenses are adjusted, and then whatsoever figure is there, that is actually covered in the flow statement. Now let's understand the important points related to the Indian Accounting Standard 7 over there. The transactions that are mere movement in between the items of cash and cash equivalent, those are not to be considered in the cash flow statement. Okay, the cash was deposited in the bank over there. Now actually the cash changed it from one form to another. Like cash basically converted into bank balance, or bank balance converted into cash over there, or it is converted into marketable securities over there. So that is actually not to be considered at all. And further, a single transaction may include cash flows that are classified differently. Like I told you, three types of activities are there. It is related to operating activity, we are having the investing activity, we are having the financing activity over there. Now it could be related to there is only one transaction and it is actually covering the different aspect. Like when you are repaying the loan amount, it is covering the principal amount as well as the interest amount. Now the principal amount is actually, the element is covered as what? It is covered as a operating activity, and the interest element, the loan element over here is classified as what? It is classified as the financing activity over here. Okay, so the composite activity types can be there in a single transaction over there, and those can be bifurcated over there. Okay, and that can be classified differently over there. Then it's related to cash flows arising from transactions in a foreign currency. Those are first to be converted at the cash transaction rate, exchange rate, and further then those must be classified into the cash flow statement over there. Then it's related to the cash flows which are actually arising from the income from the taxes over there. Those must be classified separately over there, and further those must be classified separately and must be disclosed separately over there, and shall be classified on cash flow statements from the operating activities. Okay, so if there is income from the taxes over there, that must be classified as a operating income over there, unless specifically it is mentioned over there that it is identified as a financing activity. Otherwise we'll be covering it as what? We will be covering it as the operating activity only. Okay, so tax income is basically will actually go under what head? It will go under the operating activity over there. Okay, then the next point, it is related to that, like when you have acquired some subsidiary, or you have basically obtained control of some business, or have lost control of some business or subsidiary over there, that must be specifically presented separately and must be classified as the investing activity. Okay, then after that, it's related to the format for preparation of the cash flow statement. So first of all, it's related to the cash flow from the operating activities. So whatsoever the operating activities are there, we will be covering that. Like we are having the NBT, that is a net profit before tax over there, adjustment for depreciation or goods will that are written off, loss on sale of fixed assets, preliminary expenses, whatsoever expenses are there. So those all must be covered over there. Increase in current asset, decrease in current asset, increase in current liabilities, decrease in current liability, that all must be covered over there. And then after that, we are having the cash generated from the operating activities or cash used in the operating activities over there. That is actually related to operating activities. After that, the second component is related to cash flow from the investing activities over there. When you have purchased a fixed asset, or you have sold or disposed of the fixed assets over there, you have purchased the securities over there, or have sold the securities over there, or it could be the case that the loans and advances have been made to the third parties, or you have received the repayments from the loans and advances made to the third parties over there. That is actually related to the investing activity. The third one, it's related to the financing activity, where you have issued the shares, bonds, debentures over there. You have basically taken the loan from the other bank over there. It could be the case that you have redeemed the debentures, or you have buy back the shares over there, repayment of the borrowings over there, or dividend you have paid over there. So those all activities are covered under the financing activities, as we have covered so far. I just wanted to let you know that all these activities do what? In the very end, you can say that is related to cash generated from operating activities, cash used in operating activities, cash generating from investing activities, cash used in investing activities, and further also for cash generated from the financing activities and used for the financing activities over there. Now after that, net decrease in cash and cash equivalent over there, opening balance whatsoever was there, and the closing bank balance of the cash and whatsoever was there, that will be the final statement of the cash flow statement. Okay, so that was related to it. Now let's have a look at the uses of the cash flow statement. That what is the use for it? Okay, first of all, it facilitates the short term planning, because let's say the case that for running a business, you do require what? You do require liquidity. liquidity. Okay, so it helps us to plan the investments and assessing the financial requirements of the enterprise over there. And further, it also help us to assess the liquidity and solvency. So if you're having liquidity in our hand, if you're having the sufficient cash in our hand, definitely the enterprise would be able to meet the liabilities in time, and further so as to manage the cash efficiently. Now if you're having abundant cash and extra cash with you, it means you're not actually using your assets properly over there. And further, also if there is deficit of statement, in that particular case you can take the appropriate decisions over there which can actually help us so as to meet up your expenses efficiently. Okay, then further, facilitate comparative study over there. Now comparative is actually related to what is actual cash flow over there and what was the budgeted cash flow. Like if we budgeted that we'll be having rupees 10 lakh in our hand as cash over there, but we are having rupees 8 lakh only, we need to indicate that where we spent more or from where we have not received the cash so far. And that actually means what? That means the comparison will indicate what? It will reflect the deviations. Okay, and according to those deviations we can actually take the corrective actions, and those must be taken by the enterprise. Then it's related to evaluate the management decision. Okay, to evaluate the management decision over there. This point is actually related to self-evaluation of the management decision. Like what decision we have taken so far, are they actually in line that meet up the cash requirement of our institute or our organization or not? Okay, so that's actually related to evaluating the management decisions. Then after that, it's related to the fund flow statement. Now fund flow statement is actually related to, it tells us that which were the sources of the funds over there, that what were the sources from where the funds were obtained, and further where we are going to use those funds over there, or we are going to put those funds over there. That is actually related to the fund flow statements over there. Okay, so it reveals the amount of the fund that is generated. It reveals the amount of the fund that is actually generated, and further whatsoever the amount which was generated over there, how the fund was raised over there from the various external sources over there, and further what were the different uses. So whether it is related to the internal sources from where we have generated the funds, or it is related to the external sources from where you have generated the funds, and then it is related to how you have used those funds over there during the particular year or during the particular period over there. Okay, so funds generally means what? It generally indicates the working capital. So whenever we talk about the cash flow statements, it's related to the long term things over there, and further when we are talking about the fund flow statements, it's actually related to the short term statement over there. So fund flow statement is actually the statement which let us know that how the working capital position of the enterprise is going to change or has changed over the period of time, and further it may be covering between the period between the two balance sheets over there. Now let's understand the difference between the cash flow and the fund flow using this table over here. First of all, it's related to the definition. When we talk about the definition of the cash flow, it's actually related to the cash flow that is covering inflows and outflows of the cash and cash equivalent during a particular period. And when we talk about the fund flow, it tells us the sources and further uses of the funds during a particular period of time over there. Okay, and further what is calculated in case of cash flow? In case of cash flow, we basically let us know that cash is generated from which of the operations over there and how it is used over there. In case of fund flow, we are basically covering the how the funds from the different operations is generated and where it is used over there. It could be related to the internal sources, or it could be related to the external sources from where you have actually generated the funds over there, and further where you have used the funds over there. And what does this statement indicates? In case of cash flow, it indicates the short term position of the business. It indicates the short term position of the business, and in case of fund flow, it indicates the long term position of the business over there. And also in case of the fund flow, we are looking for the working capital management over there. In case of cash flow, we are covering the overall cash requirement of the funds and the surplus and deficit of the cash over there. And what is the purpose of the cash flow statement over there? So as to indicate the movement of cash during the beginning and end of the period. Like we are going for the cash in the beginning of the period, cash in the end of the accounting period over there. And further, if we go for the fund flow over there, this particular shows what? This particular indicates the changes in the financial position of the company. Like what fund was generated and what fund is actually being put in use over there. And also, the fund flow is working on the accrual basis. Cash flow is actually working on the cash basis only. Accrual basis means what? When an amount is due, it is covered like the funds has been generated, but you have not received it so far. Like the interest which was payable was due in the month of March over there. It was due. You have counted it in your profit and loss account, but actually you have have not received it so far. So as per the cash flow, it will not be covered over there, but as per the fund flow, it will be covered over there. Okay, so cash inflow and the outflows are disclosed, whereas in the case of the fund flow, we are covering the sources of the funds and uses of the funds over there. And if we talk about the accounting which is used, I already told you, in case of cash flow, we are using the cash basis of accounting, and in case of fund flow, we are using the accrual basis of accounting over there. And does the cash flow statement forms a part of the financial statement? Yes, it forms a part of the financial statements, but the fund flow statement is not the part of the financial statements over there. We need to keep a point of it, and both of these are used for the capital budgeting purposes over there. Now let's understand the sources of funds and uses of funds. Now what do you mean by the sources of funds? Sources of funds are actually what? If we just look at the balance sheet, in that particular case, we are having the liabilities on the left side, and further we are having the assets on the other side. Now liabilities are actually the sources of funds. Liabilities are what? These are the sources of funds, and assets are what? These are the uses of funds. Like the capital is there, long-term liability is there, short-term liability is there. Capital means the owner's equity over there, and if we talk about the long-term liability, it basically covers bond, debentures, or the term loans which the organization has availed from the company, from the bank over there. And if we talk about the short-term liability, it does indicate what? It indicate like the current liabilities over there. And if we go for the asset side, we are having the fixed assets, like it could be related to land, building, machinery, etc. And if we go for the non-current assets, this is basically type of the assets which are not fixed in nature and not current type of nature. Current assets are actually those assets which do change their form from one form to another and easily liquidable. Like we are having the stock, inventory, receivables, etc. Those all are covered under the current assets over there. And also we are having the intangible assets over there. Okay, so basically we can divide it into two parts, that is the long-term uses and the short-term uses over there. Like when there is a decrease in equity, when there is decrease in equity, when there is increase in reserve over there, when there is decrease in long-term borrowings over there, or increase in non-current asset over there, that is actually related to what? That is actually related to uses of the funds over there. Okay, and similarly that is a part that we are having the left hand side is equal to right hand side, because it's the balance sheet over there. Now let's understand the statement of funds from the operations over there. Now first of all, we are having the NPBT, that is PBT over here, that is profit before interest and tax over there, that is PBIT. Okay, after that we'll be making the adjustment for the depreciation, goods will written off, and for the loss and sale of fixed assets and so on, which we have done so far in the case of the cash flow statement also. Okay, and further then we are having the funds from the operations or funds lost in the operations over there, that is actually related to it. Now let's have a understand the statement of changes in working capital over there. Statement of changes in working capital over there. I'm just zooming it in. Just look at the pattern over here that's related to statement of changes in the working capital. On the first side, we are having the particulars, and we are having the previous year, current year, and we'll be going for what is the change related to it, whether it is increasing or decreasing over there. Okay, so like we are having the current assets and the current liabilities, because the working capital is actually related to the amount of the current asset which is exceeding over the current liabilities over there. So whatsoever the current assets we are over here, it is represented by A, and whatsoever the current liabilities we are having over here, it is represented by B over here. And over total working capital, that is also said to be the net working capital over here, it is actually A minus B, that is the total current assets minus the total current liabilities over there. And also the another definition, it's actually related to long-term sources of funds minus the long-term uses of funds, that is also be an amount which can be actually used as a margin in the working capital over there. Okay, but that's another definition. So as to make this simpler over here, just do understand the amount of the current assets which is actually exceeding over the current liabilities. It is actually what? It is the current, it is our working capital over here. Okay, so that's actually related to it. So from here we can get to know the change in the working capital over here, and that's actually related to statement of change in the working capital. I hope that you must have understood. Now let's have a look at the fund flow statement. We have already covered this so far, whatsoever the sources of funds we were having, or whatsoever the application of uses of funds we are having. So it could be related to funds we have received from the operations, or we have sold the fixed assets, or sold the investment, issue the shares. So whatsoever the activities from where the funds will be generated, that will be covered over there, that will be covered under the sources of funds. And similarly, wheresoever we are using the funds over here, that is actually the application of funds over here. Okay, so over here we can get the total, and further the total of the uses of funds and total of the uses of funds and total of our sources of funds over here. Now let's understand that while preparing the fund flow statement, it's a special point that we must be taking care of two aspects. What are those two aspects? First of all, it's related to changes in fixed asset over here. So whensoever, because I told you in case of the fund flow statement, we are having the balance sheet for 2 years and we are going to compare these balance sheets like balance sheet 1, balance sheet 2. We are going to compare these two balance sheets so as to understand the fund flow statement over here. Okay, now let's say the case that there we were having the fixed assets over here. Fixed assets were worth rupees 10 lakhs in both the cases. Now it should not be the case because we are also charging the depreciation over the fixed assets. Over the fixed assets, we are also charging the depreciation. Now, if we have charged the depreciation amounting rupees 60,000 and still in the year 2, let's say it was related to year 2019 and it is related to year 2020 over here. Okay. Now, in year 2019, we are having the fixed assets amounting rupees 10 lakh and in year 2020, we are having the fixed assets amounting rupees 10 lakh again. And also we have charged depreciation amounting rupees 60,000. It doesn't indicate what? It indicates that we must have purchased new fixed assets amounting rupees 60,000, because if the depreciation has been charged, in that particular case the amount of fixed assets must have been reduced from 10 lakh to 9 lakh 40,000 over here. Okay, so that must be taken care of. Okay, so that's actually explained in this particular aspect. And the other one, it's related to what? It's related to change in net worth. It's related to the change in net worth over there. And also it must be the case that there is a change in net worth. Now what is actually related to net worth? Whatsoever the capital and reserve total you are having. So whatsoever the capital and reserves or surpluses total you are having, in that particular case, if the amount has been paid as dividend or there is withdrawal of the capital over there, in that particular case this figure will reduce. But also it may be the case that the company might have generated the profits over there and that could have been added up to the reserves over there. So the net effect must not be visible over there, but that must be taken into account when you are preparing the fund flow statement over there. Okay, so that's all about this particular unit. I hope that you must have understood the concepts related to it. So if you liked our video, kindly please do give this video a thumbs up and do rate this video out of 10. And if you want to get the full course of JIIB 2023, do enroll right now. The links are in the description. And if you want to get the free PDFs, you can join the Telegram channel over there. The link is there in the description. Do join right now and start preparing for the same. Thank you so much and see you again in the next video.